Shohei Ohtani and the Angels. We really thought the days of the Tungsten Armo Doyle games were over, that the Angels had finally turned a corner this season, and that Trout and Ohtani were finally able to win games with their teammates as opposed to in spite of them. And now here they sit, 4th place in the AL West and 3 games behind the most pathetic franchise in baseball, who was in turn 4 games behind the final wildcard spot. Back in the 2018 offseason, when Shohei first signed in America, it was assumed that the 2 teams he narrowed his search down to were the Angels and the Mariners. The Mariners basically went all in to get him, trading 3 of their top prospects for 2.5 not very good years of D. Gordon and the international slot money they needed to get him. Among those prospects being their first selection in the 2015 draft, Nick Neidert, who's been very good in AAA this year, and may well join the Marlins rotation at some point this year, joining Pablo Lopez, who also just so happens to be a Mariners cast-off in an ill-fated trade. God, I love this organization. And for Shohei, with the Angels having won a World Series more recently than the Mariners have made the playoffs, I can understand his initial decision. However, at the end of another dismal season last year, for the Angels, not Shohei Ohtani, who actually scooped up unanimous AL MVP award, he voiced his frustration, stating that as much as he loved the Angels fans, he wanted to win more than anything. Which got me thinking, what if Shohei Ohtani had signed with the Mariners way back when? Which, as a Mariners fan, is already something I do every passing hour. Now, I know that winning and Mariners are 2 not very closely associated words, but 3 times since Ohtani has signed, perhaps 2018 is a bit of a stretch, but 3 times have the Mariners come within striking distance of the playoffs, whereas for the Angels, not so much. What would a different decision from Ohtani have resulted in for 2 franchises that, if they didn't hate each other before, definitely hate each other now? Welcome to the Ohtani-verse. In a fantastic world of make-believe. I say it's fantastic because it's a universe where the Angels only have the opportunity to waste 1 star player's career. So we have Ohtani starting off the Mariners while they're still in contention mode in 2018. He's got Kyle Seager, Nelson Cruz, Robinson Cano around him, and with that, both he and the Mariners shut off hot in April, with Ohtani hitting for a 1,065 OPS and pitching an elite 7-inning, 12-strikeout game on April 8th, with the Mariners going 17-8 thanks to his help. Ohtani cools off a bit in the upcoming months as his hitting is not as electric as it was in April, and he's forced off the mound in early June due to a grade 2 UCL sprain. His pitching is elite in May, which helps the Mariners to an improved 19-10 record that month. However, they begin to falter in July, and without Ohtani's help on the mound the rest of the season, despite his great hitting in August and September, the Mariners finish outside the playoff picture. Ohtani's 2.7 offensive WAR and 1.3 pitching WAR lead to a predicted increase of 4 wins for the Mariners, which puts them at a record of 93-69 on the season, not enough to put them over the 97-65 Athletics. Come the 2019 offseason, Seattle general manager Jerry Dipoto has a decision to make. He has on his hands an aging team with a bunch of overpaid talent and one clearly underpaid superstar. He can either keep dishing out huge contracts to 30-something-year-olds and keep going for it, or he can do a quick rebuild under the knowledge that Shohei Ohtani is under contract through 2023. Likely making this decision slightly easier is the fact that Shohei opts for Tommy John surgery at the end of 2018, keeping his bat out for half the 2019 season and him not being able to pitch until the 2020 season. In this universe as well as ours, Jerry Dipoto opts not to rebuild, trading away Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz and deciding not to re-sign Nelson Cruz. Because of this, the Mariners are awful in 2019, and the half season of Shohei hitting decently does not change this, as with the help of Shohei's 2.5 batting WAR, the Mariners finished 71-91. Nowhere near a playoff spot. At this point, we begin to hear rumblings from social media outlets on if Shohei has truly made the right decision. However, no concrete displeasure from the Ohtani camp has been voiced yet. We go into 2020, year 2 of the rebuild, and the COVID season, and surprisingly the butterfly effect of Shohei signing with the Mariners does not nip our global pandemic in the bud in this universe. This is where things begin to get interesting. The Mariners finished 2 games outside of a playoff spot in 2020. Now, 2 WAR is a lot for a player to contribute within a 60-game period, but with Shohei stepping back on the mound for the first time since 2018, as well as having a full season in the batter's box, his return could be the harbinger of playoff baseball in Seattle. However, Shohei had an awful season. He hit for a meager 190 average with a 657 OPS, and in his 2 pitching appearances gave up 5 runs in 1 game without recording an out to obtain an infinite ERA, and went 1 2/3 innings in the other, giving up 2 runs, and overall in the season walked 8 batters while striking out 3. With a plus 0.1 batting WAR but a negative 0.4 pitching WAR on the season, his ineffectiveness results in the Mariners maintaining the record from our less jolly universe, and extending their playoff drought to an incredible 19 seasons, which now officially makes it an adult in Japan as of April 1st, 2022. Now, some of us know what happens in 2021. The Mariners just miss out on the playoffs, and Shohei puts up one of the greatest individual seasons of all time. It's a match made in heaven. Let's see how it plays out. First, let's go over Shohei's fantastic season. 46 home runs, 100 RBIs on the dot, and 8 triples, which actually might be the most impressive of them all, helps carry him to a fantastic 965 OPS. And on the mound, he makes 23 starts and pitches 130 innings to garner 156 strikeouts, a 1.09 WHIP, and a 3.18 ERA. Obviously, Shohei is a vast improvement at the Mariners' designated hitter spot, with M's helping create ignominious history last season by participating in the first game in history to have both designated hitters in a lineup batting in the 9-hole. With their about everyday DH Luis Torrens putting up 1.0 WAR on the season compared to Shohei's batting WAR of 4.9, Shohei's inclusion in the lineup adds 3.9 wins to Seattle's total. In pitching, the Mariners' worst starter of the year, Justus Sheffield, and his traded for replacement Tyler Anderson, we assume the Mariners don't trade for him when they have Shohei already, collectively put up negative 1.5 WAR on the season, while Shohei's pitching helped him get 4.1 WAR on the season. Shohei's pitching provides an extra 5.6 wins for the M's. 5.6 plus 3.9 wins gives the Mariners 9.5 extra wins, which will round down to 9 because I don't think that just having Shohei alone would give the Mariners 10 extra wins. And the Mariners end up with a record of 97-65, the same record held by the A's that stifled the Mariners in their 2018 playoff push. However, this time this record is enough to win their division and face the Chicago White Sox at home in the ALDS. Thanks to the Japanese phenom who watched Ichiro bring his team to the playoffs as a young lad of 7, the Mariners have broken the drought. Your move, Seattle Kings. The Sacramento Kings relocated to Seattle in this universe. We get to the first round of the playoffs, where honestly the White Sox didn't put up too much of a fight against the Astros. I think we can assume that Shohei pitches a great game 1, gets a couple big hits, and the Mariners also win in 4. They move on to the AL Championship Series, where they face the team that they knocked off their perch, the Astros. After going an abysmal 1-18 against the Astros in 2019, the Mariners improved to a solid 8-11 record versus them in 2021. But that was in our universe. In this universe, they have Shohei, who can abuse the Crawford boxes with his oppo power and pitch 2 very solid games in Game 1 and Game 5 to help the Mariners squeak through by the skin of their teeth into their first World Series, the final Major League team to do so. There they face the Atlanta Braves, and we get to marvel at the witness of Shohei Ohtani playing in the field. He pitches his first real stinker in Game 1, giving up 4 runs in 5 innings as the Mariners lose, and then they try him out in right field for Game 2. It does not go well. He flubs 2 balls, one that he doesn't get his glove down on, which extends a single into 2 extra bases, and gives the Braves their winning run in a 7-6 victory. He calms down after that to hit and field well in Games 3 and 4, which end up split between the sides, and then goes 8 innings, giving up only 1 run in Game 5 to keep the Mariners alive. But in Game 6, his lack of experience in the field comes into play yet again, as he drops an easy flyout that scores 2 runs and contributes to a 6-3 Braves victory. Regardless of the lack of titles at the end of it, both Ohtani and the Mariners have a great run, and any questions about Seattle being the right location for him are quashed in that magical 2021 season. Come 2022, the Mariners are clearly all in, as they trade for Jesse Winker, and in a move that seems almost like one of panic to not waste Shohei's final 2 years under club control, they signed Trevor Story to a huge contract to play second base. They started the season off in a less stellar manner than the previous year, as Shohei's great but not as superhuman as 2021 contributions lead them to a 45-38 record at the halfway point of the season, right around the hunt for the final playoff spot. Trevor Story has been mediocre to start the season, although he had a great series against the Boston Red Sox, and is deemed by some to be a bad signing. One unfortunate moment occurred on June 26, 2022, against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, as Mike Trout, disgruntled from having no support on garbage teams the past 4 seasons, told his teammates that a pitch from Eric Swanson that had brushed him back the previous night was intentional, and that they should try to start a fight that Sunday. The first pitch from Angels opener Andrew Wantz was near the head of Mariners hitter Shohei Ohtani, their star player, and after Jesse Winker was hit, tensions boiled over. Inexplicably, despite doing nothing but calming tensions and helping pull players away from the fight, Ohtani was handed down a suspension of 2 games. The Mariners are still currently in the process of appealing this ruling. This game seemed to put a charge on the Mariners as they went on to win 7 of their next 9 games, with Ohtani hitting 4 home runs in them and being named AL Player of the Week. Speaking of the California Angels, how are they doing sans Ohtani-san? While this answer rings true even with Ohtani on board, the answer is not great. Without Ohtani's 4 WAR in 2018, the Angels finish at 76-86. In 2019, without his 2.5 batting WAR, they finished 69-93. Nice. Very nice. In 2020, without Ohtani's bad season, they should do well in a shortened season with extended playoffs and Trout, right? Wrong. They finished 26-34, worse even than the Ohtani-less Mariners of this universe. In 2021, with no 9 total WAR from Shohei, they finished an abysmal 68-94. 2022, they go on a 16-game losing streak with no Ohtani to single-handedly pull them out of it, and are stuck in a big ditch again at 34-49. Mike Trout is hitched to this team until 2030, but most people think he'll figure out a way to fake his own death and get himself out of the hellhole situation he put himself into. The Shohei Ohtani in our made-up universe may well have saved baseball in Seattle, but I think we take it for granted how much the Shohei in this universe may well have saved baseball in Anaheim. Regardless, if America Chavez comes through with the ability to jump between universes, you bet your ass I'm doing a Scarlet Witch and stealing her powers so I could time warp my ass to this Northwest Shohei universe. Thank you for watching. Like this video if you're glad that Japan went through a post-war miracle after World War II. I know I am. Unless that Roki Sasaki kid signs for the Angels too. And then I'll wish the US had dropped more than just Fat Man and Little Boy. Subscribe, and in my next video I'll have footage of Shohei pitching in one of those Japanese schoolgirl skirts. Bullshit, I'm the only one who wants to see that. Connor Hagerman out.